Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of KDLounge. We are here with Koby from Eucalyptus Labs and Koala Wallet. Hey, Koby, how are you, man?
Hey Alfonso, good to be with you. It's been a long time since seeing you in Miami.
Yeah, man, long time. Very nice experience there. Thanks for joining us, and let's talk a little bit about what you're doing with Koala, and what else you're doing in Eucalyptus. So, to begin with, I like to ask everyone that comes here to introduce themselves and talk about their backgrounds. So if you can start
Definitely.
there.
Yeah, so my name is Koby. I'm one of the koalas at Eucalyptus Labs, and I've been in blockchain now for since 2014, 15 when I bought my first Dogecoin. So I got really interested in all the online communities of Bitcoin and Dogecoin back then when I was just in school, and since then it's been a kind of a constant with me through life. So I started Eucalyptus Labs with a really great team from a previous blockchain startup. And we really wanted to tackle a mission of making it easier to use blockchain kind of in daily life, bringing the value that everyone sees in Bitcoin and Ethereum and Kadena, all these technologies, and bringing a human touch to it so that regular people can use it and enjoy it. Personally, I've been in technology now since I was taking apart radios, as well as my co-founders could say, though they were doing it back in the 80s. But I started this company with two guys that are also blockchain enthusiasts, but much older at around 48 and 49. So it's not just one man operation. We have a really great team behind us.
Oh, can you expand on that on the team? Who is behind the Eucalyptus team?
Definitely. So I'm running a lot of the business, and on the tech side, we have Tim Moulter, who's our CTO. Tim has been contracting for governments and doing some crazy physics research with MEM resistors, going way back to when he was doing his, I think, physics masters or something like that here in the US, and now he lives in Germany. We've been working together now for almost 2 years, and it's just incredible the way he runs our tech team. On our operations side, Angelos Leosis, this guy we've been working maybe before since he had a few more strands of hair. Sorry, Angelos, but this guy and I, we go back now 7 or 8 years. I mean, he's seen me go through having a cluttered room to the organized Asana board. And so we've been working with each other for a really long overlapping time. And we also brought in a lot of the team that we had been working with. About 6 or 7 members of this core team have actually been working together now for 3 or 4 years together. So Eucalyptus is only coming up on its first year anniversary, but we've been doing this for quite some time with the team. We've grown now to about 12 members all around the world, which is why I don't get too much sleep with the time zones. But we've been working remote with each other well before quarantine and the big switch to remote offices. So it's been a really great experience of just sticking through with the same people in blockchain through all the ups and downs.
Okay, man, nice to hear. So you're 12 and growing, right? Um,
Yes.
and so did Koala came up because you were interested in Kadena, or did you had the idea to build Eucalyptus and then found out about Kadena? What was the process there?
So what we've always wanted to do is tackle the really big issues in blockchain, which we think boil down to education, acquisition, and utility. So, learning about it, getting some of it, and then using it. Those are the basics. And in scoping any blockchain environment, the first thing you're going to do is say where are people going to actually get their first exposure to cryptocurrency. Our experience has lied in wallet development, management, community support since 2014, all the way back on the team of 2014. So we said, what better place than to, display the skills and expertise of Eucalyptus and our team by creating a really beautiful polished wallet product. I guess I call it Waduct now. And then, really using this as a launch pad for people, though it's not a launch pad, right? But using it as a great starting off point for anyone getting into crypto.
Oh, it's like an onboarding tool, so to speak.
Yeah, because if you're onboarding into an exchange or you're looking to get some NFTs or you're even just looking to put some money away for a rainy day, you're usually going to get to a non-custodial wallet if you're going to treat
Mhm.
your funds, with a lot of safety in mind, with a lot of security and anonymity too. So that's why we chose wallets as a great jumping off point.
Yeah, because I think that's the natural process, right? You start out with centralized exchanges. We all do. You buy, and now you can buy NFTs with credit card. But then at some point, you wanna make sure that you don't get locked out of your assets, as a lot of people have in the past, unfortunately, and you end up in a non custodial wallet. And so I guess that's a pretty good spot for you to start engaging with people and teaching them what is important with in the ecosystem. So turning our attention a little bit to the Kadena side of things, Pact. I know you're not a developer yourself, but you work with them for sure. And what is kind of their response to it? Do they think it is a facilitator, or do they think it's kind of a something that deters them from moving forward more?
Yeah, that's that's a really good question, because when we first got into Kadena and started, sinking our teeth, a lot of what we were doing in back end, front end is always going to be separate from Pact and Kadena at whole. But when you're investigating Kadena at whole, you get to Pact and you say, where am I going to need this and how am I going to use it? And at first we said we don't really have to use it and need it. We're not going to investigate too deeply, at least into the technical applications inside of Koala. And then we started to discover how much easier it makes the process for simple things like indexing, for designing developer tools, for designing Explorer functions. So we initially viewed it as this kind of blockade of, okay, this is a technical thing we don't really want to put funds and throw brains at just yet. But later down the line, we said, wait, we can really use this to our advantage. And we've been able to see the process that Kadena has taken to smoothen the developer learning curve and really make it more accessible and easy to learn. And they're still beginning that process, and we're taking part in helping that as well as you guys. But watching it get easier and more people come into the community has been really great. And so now we're seeing Pact as a real tool. And actually, it was about a month ago that, not less than a month ago, that Kadena released some of their JavaScript
Yeah.
roadmap. And Tim came to me and he was like, hey, this is really exciting stuff. And if Tim hops out of bed and gets excited about Pact, then it's something golden. So that was a real, just another sign of faith into what they've built.
Yeah, the Canadian jazz stuff is great. Also, now they announced something about the kind of a tool for people who wanted to learn Pact, kind of like where you get some tokens in return for doing some tasks. So it seems like they're heading in the right direction. It seems to me, at least. And so you mentioned education as one of your kind of core values, and so I wanted to bring up KPN, Kadena Project Network, which was kind of your introduction to the Kadena family. It was, at least it was how I discovered you guys. Can you talk a little bit about it? What was the idea behind it, and what is the direction you're going with KPN?
Surely. So when I first got introduced to Kadena in 2019, more as an investor and very speculatively, just like poking the technology, I didn't really see a lot of people building on it, nor were there expansive, huge communities like Solana, charging their
Mhm.
ecosystem with hundreds of millions in VC funds, right? So when we later took another eye to Kadena in 2021, we saw that there was no really cohesive place to learn about what's being built, to learn about who's building it, to get involved and see who's been doing research into these projects on YouTube or other places. So we said, let's build it ourselves. There was an existing site, I think, called builtonkadena.info by a great community member, Vicky D.
Mhm.
And we actually got in touch and said, let's try to work together. We want to better understand the community. And from then on, we got in touch with a really great community manager by the name of Mr. Manatee, who was on Twitter just doing some work, interviewing people for AMAs. And I will say that this is a younger kid, younger guy than I am, pretty young. I don't have the
Yeah,
big
pretty young.
lines yet. But in one conversation, I was like, whoa, this is our guy. He knows, I guess you could say the players. He knows who's building, how long they've been here for. He has a lot of his own opinions that he can share with our team. So Mr. Manatee really was a great contact to just give us all this information and teach us about the ecosystem that we wanted to get into, so that we weren't just coming in and saying, oh, we're going to build without knowing who's already building and without building, something useful to them.
Yeah.
So we decided to make a website that would function exactly the same way that we, had these conversations with Mr. Manatee. Um, and that's exactly what we did. KadenaEcosystem.com was pumped out in about a month. We put a content management system behind it, and we started doing AMAs, researching these projects, adding information, getting in touch to get more from their teams. And we're really happy to say that we get a ton of unique visitors per day, per week, per month. who are coming for the first time to Kadena and using our website as a great jumping off point. So you can definitely expect more tools going up there to better understand and research projects, for more information and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love it, man, because it's what thrives layer ones, right? You need to have this kind of aggregated tools that show you what is being built and what is going on the ecosystem. So kudos to you on that. What I'm curious about is, since this was your first project, was there any thought on how to get any revenue from this, or are you doing this purely to get kind of the eyes into Kadena, and then you can get people into your other products?
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, the first thing we did, actually talking about revenue, because we were like, how are we gonna, is this gonna have ads, or is this? Before we even had the website in mind, we said we're definitely not doing ads. We're not monetizing. We're not doing sponsored views. We were checking out like every other ecosystem with their pages, and all we saw were like litters of ads.
Yeah,
Like being thrown into your face. Download this. Use this app.
yeah,
Sponsored position. We just don't think that's the way for a community to grow. We don't think it's fair. And even our own products live right next to everyone else's. We don't do any bumping up. Um, you know, so it's definitely a funnel for people to get involved in the best projects. And we think that we have some of the best projects out there. So we totally believe in like the natural evolution of the space, that if we just do really good work and showcase it next to everyone else doing their best as well, the winners will come out of there. So we want to keep that a really stable and clean place that people can just go and learn without having 12 things thrown at them.
yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that's the way to do it as well. So, congrats on that. Um, Now let's talk about what I'm most excited about, which is Koala Wallet. I've tried it. I love it. But I want you to let everyone who's watching know what is Koala and why did you decide to build it on Kadena.
For sure. So as you said, Koala Wallet is a non-custodial blockchain wallet for Kadena and its fellow assets, such as KD swaps, tokens, and whatnot. Using Koala Wallet, there's about a 30-second onboarding period. It doesn't track your IP, it doesn't track your location or anything like that. It's very security first and anonymity in mind. And again, we had all this wallet expertise of how do you build a beautiful wallet product, how do you manage a great wallet community, and how do you answer people's questions. And that was really the idea of let's showcase this to both, ourselves, prove that this team can work extremely well together. Let's showcase it to the community so that they trust us and they get excited about what Eucalyptus is building. And then the rest will come. And honestly, it has. We've seen a really unprecedented amount of downloads and positive reviews. Go leave one on the App Store or Google Play Store. And the community response has been great as well. We were worried that launching without NFTs or without some features like Wallet Connect, we'd kind of be slowed down a bit or have a negative response. But actually, the community was just super excited to hear that it was very soon coming on the roadmap, and that we were going to update them very transparently along the way with that development. Something we also didn't do is that we worked on Koala for about 4 or 5 months in stealth mode. We didn't want to make promises to the community and say it'll be ready tomorrow. We didn't want to say it'll be ready in a
Yeah,
few
man.
weeks. We wanted to know. Yeah, we wanted to know when I was sending it to friends and family that it was going out to Kadenians like the next week. And that's why I think is we announced we had a week and a half maybe of beta signups, 2 weeks of beta, and then we pushed the product. And that's what we try to do with all of our developments. So the next ones on the board are going to be great, and they're going to come fast.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you did it like that, because we're used to missed timelines on crypto.
And we
It's
understand that, right?
Yeah,
Not
it's
only
kind of a
starts
rule.
for the Wild
It's
West,
kind of a rule.
like software development.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's hard, but it's
It's
hard. It's
again,
hard, and I'm glad you did it. And the product honestly looks great. UI, it's really beautiful, and yeah, I've used it. No complaints so far. Um, but it's one thing I wanted to talk to you. It's like it's a mobile wallet, right? And it's only mobile, at least so far. What drove you to start with mobile in the first place? And are you planning on doing it like web or an extension, or maybe even a desktop application, or are you just going to be mobile?
Yeah, so initially and still today, everything boils down to security and user experience. So on the security side, we feel that we can much more easily protect, wallet technology with what we know, which is mobile first and forward. And that's why we really chose to work on iOS and Android to lead the push. And with user feel in mind, we know that most everything you do is going to come down to that 2FA, or that notification on your phone of, enter your secondary password into the exchange. So people already have their phones out, and also when you look at compromised funds, much more often they're coming off of web extension hacks, and issues
Hmm.
with web extensions. I will say that it's definitely in the timeline. We think it's an inevitable and really useful part of blockchain, is having it right on your computer in the browser. But again, it comes down to our expertise, to security, and the user experience of taking your phone out of your pocket and having a bank right there in your hand.
Yeah, yeah. Also, mobile is like everyone has a phone now. You go to like most undeveloped countries in Africa, they don't have a computer, but they have a mobile phone. So I think
Absolutely.
it's also a way to reach more people, and yeah, and the security part, and it's what you know, right, and what you're used to doing. So it makes total sense.
Yeah,
Um,
and if I
Go
can,
ahead, go
there's
ahead, go
there's
ahead.
a lot of there's a lot of people building wallets, and we love that because it always pushes forward, putting users first and making sure that we're making the most valuable product for users. But something we really intended to do was, first off, we're not a wallet company. We're focused on outputting a really beautiful and great wallet so that we can build valuable things around it for users. And the second is really about that value, is that because we're not a wallet company, we're not going to sell you a $10 a month wallet, because where we're going to create value is any services or things we can create around Kadena, create on Kadena, and again, have their right in the palm of your hand. So I think we're a bit different, not only in our features and our really beautiful UI forward first, but I think just the intention of the product is not to, it's really just to provide something great to Kadena.
Yeah, no, no, I totally see that. Um, and but at the same time, I mean, there's competition, right? You know there is, and you probably have thought about it, but how can you stay ahead of that competition? What are kind of the advantages of Koala in regards to the competition there is right now?
Yeah, so first I would say competition in this sense, we're not competing for internal Cadenians. I think that, Cadenians are going to find their favorite wallet. I hope it's
And use it.
Koala. I endorse you to use every one of them and try it out for yourself. And our vote of confidence is that, once you do try them out, we think we'll see you in our Telegram or Discord, and we'll be hanging out. So putting that aside, I guess the next conversation is, how do we reach the next section of users, either from different blockchains, going over and poaching people from Solana and other places and showing them the way of proof of work and scalability. And then there's also regular consumers. When is grandma going to use crypto? We'll push that aside too, because mine already has a few Bitcoin, I hope. But for that next section of users, we think it really comes down to, not only creating the best product, but again, it is about education. So because we're already building the tools such as KadenaEcosystem.com and doing a lot of podcasts and discussions with other partners and creators, we feel that Koala is inevitably going to be the most cohesive environment, and really the best place to learn about Kadena and advance your value of Kadena by having it in there, by using it in different ways through the wallet. So to stay ahead of the competition with those users, it's all about extracting the most value from their Kadena and from their interaction with the ecosystem. And that's, partnerships, that's bringing on different platforms into the Kadena space, like convincing bridges and exchanges to join the ecosystem. And we're doing and have done all of that. So it'll continue at a much faster rate now that we have the product out.
Yeah, yeah, you mentioned it, and I see a lot of focus on that connectivity and kind of the ecosystem. Do you have any plans to add some cool features in the future? Any alpha that you can share with us about that?
Yes, 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 yes. So the cool features, I could sit here and be like, "Hey, we're gonna have NFTs," obviously, right? But it's not just about having NFTs, right? I can go store NFTs wherever. It's about like the experience of having NFTs. So
Yeah.
what you can look forward to in Koala are features around NFTs, for example, like Showcase, where when you rotate your phone, you get a beautiful display that you can show your friends, which we're not really seeing from other platforms, which is pretty intuitive to us. But we understand why it's not so intuitive. And I'm not even talking only Kadena wallets, right? Because they're
Hmm.
still working, and we're all working on NFTs with the standards. Um, But everyone who's building a wallet these days is like, all right, give them a place to lock up their NFTs, and that's enough. Like, no, what are the users doing with their NFTs? Let's integrate the marketplaces. Let's integrate, send receive functionality with your
Yes,
friends by
yes,
nearby scan. So the features that we're building and that you should expect are ones that enhance the experience of even owning NFTs. Another place that we're going to be improving the wallet really massively, hopefully by the end of this month. Again, we don't do these timelines that are too far out. Will be Wallet Connect 2.0. Will be that really quick feature of whipping out your phone, scanning and connecting with KD Swap or any plethora of applications on the network. We're open sourcing that work so that every wallet, every DApp has a chance to get in
yes,
and
yeah.
really fit to form. And we're also going to be helping a lot of DApps connect with our wallet and bring them into the fold so that it's a super easy onboarding process. We're gonna lastly, a little bit of alpha that'll be going in there is that we've separated the wallet into three sections of your investment portfolio, right? Your swappability and where you're managing your funds, and then the ecosystem. So really watch that third page as to how we expand on the ecosystem and bring in different partners and tools, because that's going to have some exciting updates this quarter too.
Cool, man. That's what we are all hoping to see. And yeah, on the NFT side, man, I'm really, I can't wait to see what you guys are doing, because I love NFTs, and I feel that people don't understand that. Yeah, you can send NFTs to any address, right? If it's it doesn't matter what wallet you use, because you can send them, but you can see them, and you can't interact with them. And NFTs are very visual, right? You wanna see them, you wanna be able to share them, to put them, on your as your PFP on Twitter, whatever. And but you want to be able to hold your phone and say, look, these are my NFTs. And right now, you can't do that. I mean, you can go to Cadify, but even then, it's not right. It's not the best experience. So yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to.
But shout out, I got to shout out Cadify though. They
Sure.
do rock, and they've been another builder who looks at the ecosystem, and they just ask themselves what's lacking or what can we improve on, and then like surprise, they just go and do it. And
Yep.
that's the approach we took. That's the approach that all the products that have stayed in the ecosystem here today have taken, and they've been rewarded both on the community side and in partnership with Kadena, because those are the people you want sticking around in your space, who just out of their own will and interest and excitement about blockchains say, let's invest our time, let's invest our resources, let's provide something useful.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's what you want to see on the ecosystem. Just projects like yourselves, like Cadify, like ourselves. That you know you want to do something, you do it, and you put it out there, and you improve it, and share with the people what you've been doing, right? And yeah, shout out to them as well. I think they're doing a great job as well. Now going back to the business side of things, Koala looks great. But again, how are you going to generate revenue from it? And this time, I
Yeah.
think you really need, you need to, right? At some point, you
Yes.
need to have some revenue.
Yeah, so two phases. First phase, eventually, when we do have some more swapping functions, we are going to be doing revenue sharing with partners inside the wallet, and we'll always try to get the best deals for our users so that when we're taking any revenue, it's not out of their pocket. But we don't like this revenue model, and we don't think it's sustainable at all. I mean, if every wallet is introducing a fee for any functionality, I'm just going to lower my wallet fee. You're going to lower yours. We're going to nuke each other, mutually
Yeah,
assured wallet destruction. So we're moving away from this model before we even launch it, because we have a really great way in mind to increase value for users in this wallet by again building tools around their investments, around their holdings, and around their safety. And that's where I think without giving too much away, that's where we're really building our revenue. However, Koala will always be free. We won't be introducing freemium features that there's no pay to play. We want it to be extremely easy to have the best tools in the world for managing your finances and your assets without having to pay, because Koala is not just for the countries that, again, like you said, have the browsers and have the expensive laptops. But it's for everyone. That's why we're translated into, I think, now 12 fluent languages. It's why so far we're
cool.
present in I think over 30 countries. And we're going to keep introducing more features that make it easier for global access to Kadena.
Nice, man. Awesome. Didn't know that about the 30 countries. That's cool. That you're getting global, right? And it's
Oh
also
yeah.
amazing for Kadena. And last question about Koala. So right now we're in the bear market, so you guys have been building as we have, and it's fun and cool. But at some point, we expect the market to pick it up, and at that point, I think we will see a lot of competition and a lot of people building on Kadena, not only wallets but everything, right? So we have heard about a new wallet coming, like Links. How are you dealing with this coming of more competition, and how are you planning to you said you aren't just a wallet and that you don't see them as competition, but how are you planning to at least have like a niche that you can, these are my guys and you can come, but these are the people that I have kind of grabbed and put it to myself.
Sure. So first off, Link's wallet is developing. X wallet is developing. They've done really great jobs, and we're excited to see Links, get to their beta launch. Not only that, they've been super cordial and professional, and we've all talked at this point. I've talked to Floppy from Links. I've talked to Nicholas from Cadix and X wallet. Just like this ecosystem is so like everyone is just willing to talk and share what they're working on, and that's fantastic. So I think that each of us are definitely going to edge out those niches like you mentioned, especially because other wallets have said similar things to what we are, that we're not just building to be wallets, we're building to be companions to ecosystems. So I think the interpretation of that companion to an ecosystem, the passport to Kadena's dApps and features, is where we're going to edge out those differences.
Okay.
I think we'll always have an edge in our product design and in our security, just from our almost decade of experience in this space, and much more of years combined. But finding that niche is a really good question, and I think it does involve keeping some things to myself as to not spoil what the team has been working hard on. So that's difficult. But how you deal with that competition is you build a better product, and how you build a better product when essentially you can describe your product in the same four words of non-custodial crypto wallet. It's hard to do. Well, for us, we don't think it's hard to do, but it's hard to explain how we're going to do it without giving too
without
much away.
without spilling the beans, right?
Right,
Don't
without giving
worry.
the special sauce.
We'll be
Um,
waiting. We'll be waiting on the sidelines for you when you can talk about it.
Right, but I think one more thing
Yeah.
on that is that it's just overestimated consistently, even from wallets like Phantom Wallet, which is valued like $1 billion or something. It's just overestimated, or rather underestimated, how important it is to have excellent community support, how important it is to be able to build a community that's united and
Mm,
really excited about opening a wallet every day to interact with the ecosystem, because that's the only
yeah.
way we're going to get blockchain adoption forward, is by more people using and experiencing blockchain and sharing it with others. So I think just the fundamentals and basics of wallets are really hard to nail. And we have a track record of doing exactly that. So we think we're going to let our experience speak for itself and really rely on what we know, leading forward.
Cool. You mentioned Phantom there, and I just remembered to ask you this: did you draw any kind of inspiration from any wallets out there? I mean, I guess you did, but are there any examples that you think on the top of your head?
Yeah, so we were working as and for a really large multi-chain wallet that I won't talk about too much at that time. So I have a test phone. Actually, I have two: an old Android and an old iPhone, both with like individual shattered screens. Through the drops, get them on eBay, with like I think 80 to 90 crypto wallets. So we're well aware this is a saturated space, and we've also really picked these apart and said what can we improve on and differentiate. There was a lot of I'll shout out a big multi-chain wallet, Exodus. A lot of inspiration there.
Hmm.
They've always, since I think again 2015 or 16, been putting users first and pairing security right then and there with UI UX. Um, but with Kadena, something we loved working on Kadena and working on Kadena about is that there's like 20 chains. It uses this really weird chain architecture of hopping around on each one of them. It's weird and strange and often hard to understand at times. So tackling a big problem like that versus a much easier sounding chain is something we looked to as an opportunity to answer the hard questions versus just relying on you send, store, receive.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So let's go a little bit back to Eucalyptus, and I wanted you to share like what is your vision long term. So you have Koala, you have KPN. Are you planning to add any more product to the portfolio, or are you good as it is and are just expanding on those? So what is your long term plans for Eucalyptus?
By the end of the year, we want to have an additional two products out for sure, and those will be on the side of first education support, and the second will be on acquisition, making it much easier to get Kadena to learn about the process of keeping its store. Again, these steps really all go hand in hand, but those are the two products you should expect. I guess one of their code name is Spark, but we can't, share too much more yet. But cool code name, right? So
Yeah, I like it.
yeah. So that's something to put aside and wait for a bit more alpha on. But again, we see Koala as the starting point that you open it whenever you're thinking, ooh, how are my stocks doing? How is my financial overview? And also being reassured that your assets are stored safely. So if we're able to create that experience that you whip out your phone and you've got all your prices and everything in one spot, that's really the goal, is to again build a really cohesive product that unlocks a lot of the value of are you staking some of your tokens, are you doing some kind of lending platform inside of the application. When you want
Mhm.
to look at your full overview of your portfolio, even for all cryptos, you just go to Koala, and we'll make it really simple to get all those answers in one place.
Okay, man, nice, nice. Glad to hear that. So I think we're done with eucalyptus questions. Now I want to talk to you more as a an investor and a crypto person to wrap the interview up. So we are in a bear market and we all love to build and whatnot, but eventually we want things to pick up, right? What do you think is the kind of the catalyst for that? Do you see it happening this year, next year? Have you thought about it at all?
Yeah, we thought about it a lot, and it was really even its own like three slides on our recruitment presentation like months and months ago, if not almost a year. Our thesis was always that the highs are not going to last. We will see epic drops, as they say, and we were really prepared for that. So we budgeted our long term strategy for about 2 to 3 years of operation with a small agile team, and ever since the beginning, we had on our page that our belief was that big firms like Coinbase, Gemini, and many others, Crypto.com, FTX, were going to really capitulate in a way. And not only did they capitulate, but they like blamed it on, I don't even know, market conditions. So we were able to see that market conditions go up and down, right? We were on an up. We can assume it's going to eventually go down. And from that, we said, we're not going to grow too rapidly. We're not going to, invest like sporadically and throw all of our money into meme coins. Apparently, other people that pretend to, or self say that they have like a decade of experience in the space didn't think the same, and they had to lay off like 10 to 20% of their workforce.
Yeah.
So we don't really get why that's a thing. But that also goes to the investor mindset. We love that Kadena has locked up their tokens, their management team, for I think about 10 years. And we have the same long-term strategy in mind. So while we do think that in the next 2 years, we're going to see some pickup to the market, we're really not planning on an upswing to take us to the next level. It's really about asking, when is crypto going to provide the next wave of value to people. So I think we saw that with NFTs and DeFi, taking some of the traditional finance tools
Mhm.
away from the complex investing of a bank, putting them into the user's hands, which can be really dangerous, as we saw with Celsius, or it can
Yeah.
go super well. And Paraswap and Uniswap have been able to serve millions of transactions all around the world. The same thing can be said with NFTs. Creators can come into blockchain and pretend that they have a real interest, and people get rugged. Or you can see some awesome collections that grow into really big communities, also, again, expansive and around the world. So we need to see blockchain provide a really good use case. When we do, I think it'll also be covered with a lot of FUD and, like, again, those celebrities and those risky plays. So be
Yeah.
careful, do your own research. But that's what's going to drive the market, as well as Bitcoin exploding when the next billionaire says something about it.
Yeah.
So we
That's
definitely love Bitcoin. We love those market cycles, but we think it's about finding that next wave of utility that brings in another 5, 10 million people into crypto. Maybe brings in 30 and it boils down, but that's our thesis.
what's your guess for kind of what's the next big thing? So we have DeFi in the last cycle. We had NFTs in this one, or in the one that ended like a year ago. What is the next big thing? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think it could either go two ways at this point. We've always been seeing these very consumer focused waves of what's being provided for the consumers in terms of again NFTs or something they invest in that skyrockets. I think we're at a really great turning point for crypto where we might see the next wave influenced by traditional banks opening the floodgates in more ways of regulations
Hmm.
to getting involved in crypto. Even if it's through stablecoin products at first, that just gets people gets people putting their foot in the door.
Yeah.
So on, I think there's just a really great overlooked potential for banks and for institutions to spur the next wave. And then on the consumer side, I do love a lot of the applications in GameFi right now that are being talked about. I don't. I'll be very clear and I'll always share my opinion that I don't think you're going to be paying for your car after a few months of gaming. Luckily, those in the Kadena space who are building games aren't proclaiming those kind of like really excitable ideas. They're like, hey, you might make a few bucks off of playing this, which I think is awesome. But I see crypto really increase leveling the playing field for publishers and software developers to kind of test the waters and put out some
Hmm.
apps, get rewarded right away from a small user base without having to wait on a payment from some big game publisher or otherwise.
Now you mentioned the games. Have you seen Wizards, the new game on Kadena?
I have. I
I
think
mean,
Kadena
I think
ecosystem
they
KPN
nailed
just
it.
did a
They nailed
yeah,
it,
yeah,
man. I love
exactly.
that. Can't wait to
Exactly.
have them here on the show. I hope they come because I think they came in like you guys were saying, like they came in out of nowhere and they just said, "Oh, we have this. It's fully done and you can play it now." It's really simple but really kind of addictive, you know. So I think they actually there's a tournament going on. I entered my my three wizards in there, so I think they did a good job. And yeah, I do think there's a good way to do games on the blockchain, and I'm waiting. I haven't seen like a clear winner there. I've seen some big names coming and seen some uh, some games trying to be like AAA games on the blockchain, but so far it's just promises and videos. It's not the real thing yet, so I'm still waiting. I hope we get there because yeah, gaming drives a lot of people, right? And it brings a lot of new people to the space and young people, which is what this space needs right now. So yeah, let's see. Koby, thanks a lot for hanging out with us and letting us know all the scoops and talking with us about Koala and Eucalyptus and
Thank
KPN.
you, Alfonso, and thanks for the great work you're doing both here with the lounge, and next time I might get you to put on the fedora for me. But I really appreciate what you guys are doing for the community, and I hope to be talking again soon about all the great developments that we're publishing in just a bit.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Anytime you wanna talk, let us know and we can set something up. Even if it's just a small thing, we'll do an AMA on Twitter or whatever, and we can talk a little bit. It's always a pleasure. If you want to highlight where people can find you, Eucalyptus, KPN, Koala Wallet, like Twitter, LinkedIn, Discord, maybe.
Yeah, I'll hit them all. First off, go to koalawallet.io and check out Koala. Download it, get involved with the community, see how it feels in the palm of your hand. We think you're going to love it. Second is if you want to see the other people who are building amazing things on Kadena, hit up kadenaecosystem.com where you can find the social links to KPN and all of our streams there. And then lastly, if you're interested in looking at my headshot or find out who's on the team, do your own research and go to eucalyptuslabs.io, or rather .com. I think both will lead you to the same place. But eucalyptuslabs.com is where you can learn all about the fantastic members of our team who are integral in building every part of what you use and touch on the blockchain. So check us out, connect, send us some messages on Twitter, and we'll respond pretty quick.
Awesome, man. Thanks. And we'll add all those links on the bottom on the description of the video. As for us, thanks for watching, guys. And if any of you wants to be on the Kadena Project Networks, talk to us. We launch projects here. So excited to see what's coming to Kadena. Thanks. See you, Kobe.
Thanks. See you, Alfonso.
Bye.